Check podcasts.
The Bread and Butter Collective is a collection of hospitality professionals working together to help strengthen our industry to build strong culture, community, and sustainability.
I'm Kalen McNeil.
And I'm Sam Jones. And this is the Bread and Butter Podcast.
Welcome to the Bread and Butter Podcast. How are you, Sam?
I'm doing just as well as the last time you asked me, if not a little bit better, actually.
I'm doing better, actually.
Yeah, great conversation a couple minutes ago. We're doing our first, is this our first double?
No, we used to do doubles back in the day. We've been doing this, we've had over 100 episodes.
This is 103? 104?
Something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, 103, 104. And there's no better topic with no better people. And we're just going to cut to the chase.
Yeah.
We've got Marianne Carmack from Roast. She's the president of the Bread and Butter Collective.
President.
Yeah,
hey.
Presidente. and Dino, who is Dino Osmanovic from Bosnia.
Bosnia, right?
Yes. And our topic today is the LMI program and changes that the federal government have decided to make and the impact. So I want to just jump right in it. Dino, do you want to start with your story and your background and why we're here talking?
Sure. Thank you for that. Okay, my name is Dino. I'm coming from really small Europe countries, Bosnia, Herzegovina. I've been working like chef in Victoria in the last 3 years. December 2021, I started here on LMIA program. It's been COVID time. I have followed every rule. I pay the taxes on the time. I bring something to this economy with my high skill, actually. I still don't have any clear pathway for all of this from immigration. But when I arrived in Canada, my first employer went to bankruptcy. Really short time. I spent months pleading him for BCP&P support, but he kept making some excuses, ignoring my emails. But between that time, he's been bouncing checks, no safe kitchen like him. It's been totally difficult. Less hours, 20 hours, 25 hours per week. That is nothing.
You were working in an unsafe kitchen.
Yes,
Yeah.
non-safe kitchen.
Yeah.
After finally, I got him. After a few months, of course, he signed me the form and I submit that form. Just few weeks later, he announced to close the business. Let's say bankruptcy. And that has been a huge shock for me. I get laid off. I'm new in this country. What I need to do, to who I need to speak about that. Despite facing these challenges in my life here, I fought on and now I work at the roast meat sandwich. Of course, where I found stability, employer support, but with this new policy, immigration, I can't bring my family because they don't have any clear pathway for BCP&P anymore. Some skills, they block till you can bring the family. Almost is impossible. That's been after 3 years and 3 months in this country. From first day, status, legal, everything. I have been away from my wife and kids since 2021.
Dino has 4 kids.
4 kids.
4 kids.
Yes.
4 young kids.
And I have missed all birthdays, special moments, everything important moments in their lives. That has been, I sacrifice everything to come in this country to bring their future better. What is now almost impossible to show that. Before coming to Canada, I spent 7 years working in food service under NATO and US Army in Afghanistan. Managing food service in high pressure situation, fighting against the terrorism in the world. I didn't just cook, I helped sustain military operation, feeding thousands under extreme conditions. That does mean I've been feeding all NATO troops in Afghanistan, Bagram airfield for 7 years.
Wow.
Canada has supported others who work with the NATO, private contractors and civilian contractors. Why are skilled workers like me being forgotten? I'm alive. I'm in this country right now. And you can see me, of course. I choose Canada for better future for my family, my wife and kids. After everything I've been through, I want them to have stability and opportunities that I fought so hard for it. Canada offers a chance to rebuild and thrive together. But with these new programs, it's impossible. I don't say we need any special treatments or anything. We just want a fair pathway for us who is already in Canada. Plus, my experience, fight against terrorism, showing something. And nobody respected. That is my point.
Yeah.
Wow. That is heartbreaking.
It's
When you first came to Canada under this program, obviously the idea was you work, you build your status, and then you're able to bring your family here.
Yes.
Is that correct? I don't know much about this. Sorry. So
Yes.
if that's something that's obvious, I'm sorry, but that was the promise when you came to Canada.
there's a set of rules when you arrived, right? They accepted you on the program of, was it the LMIA program? Is that what it was called?
Yes, it's been LMI program.
Yeah. So there's points. It's a points-based system. You go to a region and you different categories and different ways to collect points to gain the citizenship
Yes.
or the permanent
Residence.
The
Yes.
PR is the goal, right? And you're here on a work permit that's tied into the LMA program, just for people that don't understand how it works. So in the infinite wisdom of our federal government, they created a set of rules at the beginning. So they've had immigration programs for years, decades, always. So we bring in approximately about 1 million immigrants a year. That's what the stat has been. They're now shifting it where they want to greatly reduce it, and they're saying housing crisis and all this stuff. So for me, the issue is for Dino and others that are in that same boat, and the number of people is staggering, how many people that have come in under one set of rules, and when the federal government changed the rules, they didn't grandfather the people that are already here, building community, working in businesses. Businesses have had to support financially, the LMA programs in many cases. So we're invested. There's a labor shortage, so our ability to get quality labor, and it is like the skills that you bring, I know this because I'm in the restaurant industry. I believe we've got 4 people on the LMI program as well, and it is tragic that when they decided to change the rules, they did not grandfather people that were already here. You've been here 3 or 4 years?
3 years and 3 months.
Yes. So over 3 years, most of the people that are in my situation are producer Vivian, who achieves here on the LMI program as well. And make no mistake, immigration is a hot topic. It's a political topic. There's lots of, fake news about it, and also we need, and part of the reason, I had a conversation with somebody recently that was talking about immigration, and we're in a very unique time now, and conflated with COVID and all the other things that are going on, but demographically we have a big gap in labor. So we have a group of cohorts of people in the last 2 generations that do not want to work in our sector. There's a big group of people who are the parents of the children, and then those children's children. They're very affluent. There's a lot of money that's passed down. So the need to work, the resume building, all that stuff doesn't exist. So we're in a unique period. This is going to shift back again, but in order to create stability for us economically, and I'm going to get into the cruelty part of it, but the economic part of it is we need this pool of workers in order to us to operate. If we want to have a diverse restaurant industry and hospitality industry, it's essential. So now the impact. So when this first came on my radar, it was probably, I want to say it was maybe like 8 months ago or 9 months ago. And we had an employee who was in tears, and basically they were going to open up our Courtney location, and all of a sudden the delay on getting a renewed work permit, because as they go through this process, there's renewals that you have to maintain. And as long as you're in the program, as far as I understand it, you will get a work permit. They've decided to change the goals and the point calculations. So to me, it's a contract. So when you go when you sign a contract, you sign here, this is the rules. You have to collect 400 points, for example. Here's what you need to do. And you're checking all the boxes, and you're doing it for 3 years. You're building community. You're working in a small business that is operating on razor thin margins. And the willingness of these small businesses is twofold. One, to do the right thing, but two is to run your business and provide the product you're providing. Small business, restaurant industry, hospitality industry is the backbone of the economy. So there's that component. But to change the goalposts partway through, it's fine for future. Like if you want to change it today, here's the rules. Tomorrow, these are the rules. That for me makes sense, and I would have zero issues with that.
Yeah.
But to pull the rug out from this community,
It's cruel.
It's insane how cruel it is. And I think people need to understand the real world impact of it, and what's happening in the community. And you think about, you being the sacrifice, and we're an immigrant country, like the colonialism brought us all here. So everybody has a history of an immigrant story. And for us as a country to do this to the new Canadians that want to come in here, they're skilled, they're leaving their family to do this, to make their world better. And it's aggravated in your case significantly because of what work you did for the global peace.
Yeah.
And coming out of a war-torn country, and wanting to do a better life for your kids, and then to have those rules change. Like that to me is the main issue for my personal perspective, is it needed to be grandfathered. To me, it's a contract. It's no different than the president of the United States right now changing an agreement that he wrote to do with the trade, and then saying, well, no, whoever wrote that's horrible. It was him who wanted to change, and then now he's changing the rules. We're going to do 25% tariffs, which explicitly are excluded from that agreement. We're now doing that to new Canadians.
Yeah, but passive aggressively.
It's
It's
100%.
And there's no information about it.
Yeah.
Nobody's sharing information. They just they didn't talk about it. There was no discussions, no thought process of what it would do to small businesses or the people that are working in the business. It's disgusting.
Well, it is. It's horrible. And this is where we get into, your opening comments about it and the cruelty of it, and the fact that it's not just your life here. If you're a single man, with no children, no family, okay, even then there is no excuse for that either. But you look at the ramifications of what happens back home, and economically, I just read a book called, The Best Things First, and it talks about the economic impact of all these programs around the world, not just immigration, but the impact, what happens in our community, and the economic benefit of having new Canadians coming into the workforce, and then also the benefit to the community they came from, with money going back and flowing back and inspiring others to, get educated and look for other opportunities around. But also they bring back economic value to the community that's there. So that allows, Bosnia to benefit. Yes. Right. You benefit here. We benefit. Like the return of it is staggering. I think in the book, and it's Bjorn Lomborg who wrote the book, and I think it's like a 30 or 40x return. So as a country, and especially in the time we're in now, it's maddening to me because you've changed an agreement. Like there is a social agreement, there's a social contract. We as employers are blindsided by it because we've got these people in management positions, significant roles in our companies, and the rug's being pulled out of them. So forget the impact of having them to exit the country, or not get a work permit. The stress it puts on you, right? Like talk a little bit about that. How stressful is it to be always constantly wondering what you're going to do?
I'm just keeping me busy, so I don't think too much.
Yeah, good. Well, which is like
because it's really difficult when you go back in that room and sit. First thing, puff.
Yeah.
What is next? The most important in this world is the family.
Yes. Yeah.
Connection. That is human rights.
Yeah.
And we don't see that.
One stability, like not just your stability. And again, I go here, you're here, you can cope with what you're doing day to day, but your family worrying about their future. You're like you've taken, so follow this path along, and you don't get a work permit and you have to return to Bosnia. You've spent 3 to 4 years here and now have to start fresh again in that community, right? And rebuild, a career there, which would take 2 to 3 years. And then now the people you're leaving behind here, we've got this massive gap where there is no employee. So our businesses that hang by a shoestring majority of the time are at risk. And why?
And not to mention the hopes and the dreams of not only you as the individual here, but the hopes and dreams of your family back home. I mean, that can't be quantified, I don't think.
It's hard, like, when you call your home and start explaining to your family what's actually happening. It's hard to explain really what's happening. Like, you promise them, hey, you know what? We need to renew our passports. Just example. Go renew all the passports because we need to drop in application till we apply for you. Tomorrow morning, boom, is impossible. And how to say that?
How to explain
And when
it.
your daughter called you on the phone, she crying, I hate this life, I hate this. And she's 12 years. I hate it because we are separate. And how to explain to one young brain that you doing this for them. And you're trying your best to bring them in, because I don't see future back there in Bosnia. That is beautiful country, but I don't see the future there. Past of Bosnia and everything,
And so you put your trust in Canada.
Oh yes, whole
and
trust.
Now it's letting you down.
That is my question. That is why I sing I'm alive.
Yeah, see me. I'm here.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, and I'm like, I did a lot for this community, for hospitality, for this industry. I show many skills. I can't say that for myself, but if we ask other customers, employers, chefs, how I do, what I do, they can confirm everything. I did a lot, and I like to work. It doesn't matter how much work you put on me and pressure, I will survive. I've been working in critical condition in my life. This is nothing compared to others.
Yeah, you held up your end of the bargain.
Yeah.
Your family at home is expecting Canada to uphold their end of the bargain.
Yeah.
Well, in no organization and democracy where we have laws and rules of engagement on how we behave and how we conduct ourselves, if we decided not to pay taxes, if we decided not to pay you or remit your taxes, we'd be liable for that.
Right.
But we can't change the rules. So the fact that the Canadian government, and let's be clear, this is the federal Canadian government under Justin Trudeau, who, for whatever reason, is deciding to change the goalpost for new Canadians. And they started on a program. And it's maddening to me because we had an employee that we've had a couple, some that have gone well and some that have not gone well. And there's one in case where we paid the lawyer and the person came and then literally worked one shift and left. So there's that. Very, very, that doesn't happen, right? So we've probably done 10 of these LMIA, new Canadian opportunities, and I view them as opportunities. And you have to go through a skill gap, LMIA. I had to Google it because I keep forgetting what it is. It's a labor market study that you do. It's an assessment to determine whether there's people qualified to do it in the region, and there's a huge gap. We just don't have the workers. It'd be the same thing in construction and same thing in the farming and all these industries that need it. And this is the reality of where we are economically and demographically. So, we've had a very, very good chef at Zambri's who had been here for a year, was amazing. And he literally made the decision to move to a different community. So granted, you can get higher points if you move to Saskatchewan or Northern Alberta or perhaps Northern BC. But the points that you could have garnered on the initial point system you could have satisfied in Southern Vancouver Island. You made it your home. You built the infrastructure. And that's the issue I have. Like, you shouldn't have to move to a different municipality or and start fresh again, right? You've got relationships. You've built them here. We need it here as well. So there's a huge imbalance, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, what's more upsetting to me is that this issue isn't talked about. So
why?
And because it's a political touchstone. Like, you've got a conservative, and the liberals, and you've got all these people fighting over what rules and the housing crisis, all this BS, when it's just a systemic problem where we are in this period of time. It has to do with the baby boomers that had too much money, that had children that didn't maybe want to work or need to work, right? There's no resume building. This is a fact of the labor market today. Yeah. Right? So, and we've got an industry that predominantly has been, viewed as lower and transient. But we need to make careers, and we've got a group of people that want to come in and make it a career that helps support the industry. And because the outcome for everybody is horrible. Like, there's no good outcome from this. Yeah. And again, it's not about if you want to change the rules, and if we want to reduce the number of new Canadians that come in, that's fine. But to do it to people that are already here is insane.
They've invested their time. They've invested their funds.
Well, everybody has. Yeah. Like, the whole group fails. Like, this, it's literally like somebody, I'm going to look to the States, and regardless of what you view, you've got somebody there who's like a bull in the china shop, just breaking stuff with zero consequence of all the moving parts that come in it. And this stuff is so obvious. Like, it is so obvious, but we're not talking about it, because then it becomes an argument with your friend or your family or neighbor or whatever, because then it's like, well, immigrant, blah, blah, blah. It's like garbage. It really just comes down to where we are as a society. And it's a North America thing, like migration. It's also a geopolitical, where, people are being forced to migrate because of war, famine, climate change, all this stuff. And we should be a beacon of hope. We have a need, right? And to have this policy and have not enough people talk about it, to me, is like blowing my mind.
It's crazy. Yeah. I was talking to a team member, Sheenan, yesterday, and he came here on a student visa. And prior to working with us, he was working at a gas station. And the owner said, I'll promote you to manager so that you can get your PR. And Sheenan, being the good person that he is, he said, no, I want to do it the right way. I came here on a student visa. I believe in the system. Okay. So we've got somebody like that who's come here. He's paying thousands of dollars to go to school here, and he's trying to do it the right way because he's been given rules and regulations. Yeah. He has friends that came here to Canada 8 years ago, also on a student visa, to attend the engineering program at UVic. It's a 6-year program. They're paying thousands of dollars to do the program.
Double.
They graduate as engineers. Yes. Yep. Then they have 3 years to work in our country under that same job. They're at the end of the 3 years, they can't get PR. They're engineers. Wow. Yeah. What is wrong with our country? Yeah. That's just messed up. Yeah. They've put in all this time and all this investment, and they believed in something that that Canada has told them, this is what we're going to do for you, and you're going to have a better life. And we've sold them on this whole idea. And then we're sending engineers home after they've been in our country for 8 years, and they've committed for 8 years to be here. I mean, it just makes no sense.
None of it makes sense.
None of it.
None of it makes sense. And the reality of it is like, regardless of what your political, I mean, Dino talked about human right, and, and it's the social contract. Mm-hmm. And, you can talk about the legalities and the appropriate levels of immigration and all this kind of stuff, which is fine. And you can make future decisions based on that. But to do what they're doing to people that are actually in our communities right now, it's so destabilizing. Just if you want to look at whatever lens you want to look at, if you want to look at it as Canadian economic lens, it's completely ridiculous and destabilizing. If you want to look at the human effect of, the home country where these people come from, it's completely destabilizing and cruel.
Yeah.
It's absolutely cruel. And I've seen it for myself where you've got people in the office crying and so uncertain. And, the amount of energy that they need to just do their job plus deal with the emotional stuff
Yeah.
is staggering. And then as an owner who's trying to think about their future of their business, and also wanting to help, right?
Yeah, what can we do?
What can we do? And this is where the advocacy part comes in. And what I'm hoping that comes from our podcast and starting this discussion, because to me, like, we needed to start it a year ago. And it's been, like I said earlier, it's been on our radar because we're in it. And we need to rally around this issue and try to affect change where the people that are in the program, they're grandfathered. This happens I couldn't put my food trailer in the North Nanaimo right next to another food trailer because that one was grandfathered based on nothing. Like,
Right.
There's no, show me what bylaw it's grandfathered by. No, we don't have it. We're just grandfathering it.
Yeah.
So they're able to do that in that
Right.
situation.
Right.
Another government institution. And our federal government is doing this. And it's political, right? Because they're trying, in my view, they're trying to appease a right-leaning opposition. And, there could be truth to the fact that maybe in the last 5 years, we've brought too many immigrants in for the balance. I don't know. But it's irrelevant to me because they were brought in under a set of rules. And those rules should be grandfathered. And if you want to change the future,
Yeah.
no problem.
Right.
I have no that because you haven't destabilized these people. You haven't destabilized the businesses. You haven't, created a situation that is going to be so impactful to everybody involved and hurtful to us. It's hurtful to the owners. It's hurtful to the community. It's extremely hurtful. And more important, like, we as business owners, like, we deal with risk all the time, and we're in an industry that is like crazy because it's the only industry that I know of that subsidizes the people that eat there or shop there, and we do.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is full stop.
Yeah.
Because of whatever, we can't charge this much for this, or this person does that, and competitive, and nobody ever, talks to each other about it. And then we just are like, oh, okay, I'm okay with losing money every year, right? We're used to that.
Right.
But to bring somebody in with the hope and dream that our ancestors had,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I can preach about this for a long time, but it's fired me up.
What can be, like, I don't know what can be done about this besides people should write their MPs and express how they feel. But even if it got to a human rights tribunal or gets to the Supreme Court, these processes take a long time. Are you still going to be here if that happens? Like, how long have you got now that you've got no future here, essentially, without your family? What does that mean for you? Are you going to go back home? Are you going to stay here in hopes that gets worked out?
I will fight for it
Yeah.
because I lose already a lot.
Well, you've invested a lot.
And you
3
deserve
years
it.
is
Yeah.
not small amount.
Like you said, all that time with your family that you
Yeah.
will never get back.
And now, do I give up that easy? No, that's not gonna happen. I will fight more. I think somebody will pay attention to this. I hope so. To need to help us, who we are already inside this country, and plus, most of us we are long time in this country.
Well, we're
And-
talking about millions of people too. Like, we're not
Yeah.
talking about if you go with the number of 1 million people a year have come in on various programs. Let's say this program is 30% of them,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're talking about 1 million people. You're talking about 1.2 million people, 1.3 million people that are all going through the same thing
Yeah.
and having the same stresses.
Yeah.
And the impact on an economy that large is massive.
Yeah, we already have a problem
yeah.
with our economy. Can you imagine what it's going to be like 6 months from now?
Yeah.
And like, why to bring the new people inside the country when you have already skilled people here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and you wanna make me to I leave the country because I can bring my family, and who will train that new people?
Yeah.
What will happen? I'm so confused and I don't understand.
Well, you're just starting the process again when you're literally going to be exiting people that have been here, invested time, energy, and money,
Yeah.
and then the financial impact on the businesses that have done the same.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these are investments,
Mm-hmm.
and when you lose an investment, that destabilizes economies. And,
Yeah.
And in this, for me, my main priority is for the people, because the cruelty of it is insane. Then I go to the business side of it,
Yeah.
which is like, we're already battling enough, enemies. Every day is a new day. And I know for me, and every single restaurateur I've talked to in the last several months that have done their year end, last year was a horrible year for everybody.
The worst.
Like, everybody's lost a ton of money. That the ones that can't make it, you've seen examples of people that have closed businesses recently. So who's the winner here? Like, how does that, is the winner just closing the businesses so we don't have, hospitality restaurants anymore, or they're all big box stores, and then we don't need the workers? Like, what's the objective here? Like, why are we doing what we're doing? And it's so obvious to anybody that has a brain, in my mind, that isn't like politically biased, or virtue signaling whatever their agenda is.
Yeah.
And
As a small business owner, I feel forgotten.
yeah.
I mean, haven't we been through enough?
Yeah.
Like 2020, rebuilding our businesses, holding on to what we have, and now this.
Yeah.
When we're supposed to be relying on this program, we
Yeah.
bought into the program, bought into the people.
Well, it was essential. Like, I know for my business, it was essential. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what we would have done if there wasn't this program, because there was just no skilled people that were available,
Or that want to work.
and that want to work.
Yeah.
So, but that's available, whether by choice or by circumstance. So
Right.
it's just a huge gap. I think the people, what they can do, if you talk about action. So I'm not quite sure how this is gonna manifest as far as the civil action or civil disobedience or some sort of rise to it. But I think it starts with a podcast like this. It starts with media coverage on the issue. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, that for whatever reason, people are not wanting to talk about it, even though we've got 1 million to 1.5 million or 2 million people that are going through it. Even if it's 500,000 people, it doesn't matter. We make up stats. So we're going to say it's 1.5 million. And maybe it's more, maybe it's a little bit less. But we need to reach out to our federal ministers. Laura Collins locally is our representative here. So send some letters, send some emails. If you care about this issue, if you're affected by the issue, or if you have sympathy for the people that are going through it. And the most important people are the people that are in the LMI program, and it's impacting their families, it's impacting themselves. And then the secondary, it's about the small business owners that have just gone through the most brutal, like everybody else, but economically, and now we're hanging on by a thread. And that is where community is. And you look at people from around the world, they bring such an amazing density and depth to our society, and food and beverage and knowledge and culture. That's what it's all about. And if we lose that, to me, this is the hill to die on, right? Because of the impact on the people, but also the impact on the business and who we are as a country and what we stand for. And in this day and age, in this time, we need to, this is as important as standing up to what's happening in the United States.
Yeah.
Right? It's as important, because this is our hill to die on, and the similarities to this and what's going on down there can't be ignored.
No.
Right? So if you stand up against that, you need to stand up against this, And, we need to get the voices out there and try to make an impact. So write your MPs, even write your MLAs. They have a lot of influence and they have a lot of connections. And I'm going to bring it up with our city councilors. It needs to start in our community. And that's where I think we start rallying. And then as we start talking about it, other communities will feel, and these stories will come out, because the stories I know, we're just talking about, a few businesses here that I know are intense, and it's tragic. So it's something that we need to get on top of and get the word out.
Yeah, Canada, stick to your promises. Jeez.
Well, come on. We know the effect of it. And then we're judging the United States for not sticking to their promises.
Yeah.
Like, come on. This is a homegrown issue that we started. And if the Liberal government, was wrong in how they just opened up, the doors, that ship had sailed. That was a decision that was made.
Yeah, they got to own that mistake.
They own it. But the other thing, too, is that we're very privileged to live where we are. If we have to deal with a little bit of, strife as far as housing crisis or this stuff, it pales in comparison to what the people that have left their home country have come to escape.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
check your privilege.
Yeah.
Check it, because it's materially wrong that we're even having this discussion and going, oh, well, you let 1 million people or 2 million people a year. Who cares? You had an agreement. You did it. You voted for that party to get in, and that was their policy.
Yeah.
So guess what? If you want to change it, and they're changing it, and whatever reason they're doing it, you need to grandfather the people that are here. Period. Full stop. Right? And future problem, you figure that out later. Because if you're making it for whatever the reason is, and maybe it's sound, I don't know, but you've allowed people to come in here, they built family, and you're basically going to re-traumatize them. And that to me is just wrong on every level.
It's sick.
Yeah, it's bad. So Dino, thank you so much for sharing your story. I think we're going to make this a part of, our fight. And we're also going to hear from other members of the Bread and Butter Collective and see their experience. And I know all of us have touched this, and it was a requirement. It was a need. And you guys came to our need, and you came under a set of rules, and we're going to try to defend you in that struggle, because you do not deserve this. Your family doesn't deserve this. We as a country are better than this. We as a community are better than this. So this community, as long as I'm here and as long as Marianne and Sam are here, we will have your back. And
Absolutely.
we will join your fight. All right.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll have a good outcome. But you know what? We're gonna burn it all down if we don't, because this is literally how you end free societies,
Right.
by making decisions like this.
Yeah.
Like, the parallels are, ironic, and you can say, "Oh, you're overreacting," all you want.
Yeah.
It's not true. Like
I was always such a proud Canadian.
yeah,
And when the other party on the other side of the pond got reelected, I was like, dodged a bullet. I'm back here in Canada.
Yeah, you
Thank
lived
gosh.
there, yeah.
I lived in the U.S. for 5 years.
yeah.
Well, 10 years. Community. Yeah. But for the first time, I'm not a proud Canadian. I'm disgusted with my country.
Yeah, this is a good reason to be disgusted, for sure. And yeah, hopefully that will fuel us to get change. And yeah, so we've got a liberal leadership convention coming up. Mark Carney is running, and Christopher Freeland. So there's your opportunity, guys. Like, let's grandfather, because they're both economics people. The if you don't want to be the humanitarian, which is so silly to say, then be the economics person and try to stand up and support. And on that note, we are going to close. Sam?
Wow. Are we going to be nice as Canadians?
Are we going to be kind?
Yes, we are.
We are,
as
right?
individual Canadians, we will, and hopefully that trickles up to our
whole ethos, how we end
leaders.
the show, might have to change.
God damn.
Let's be mean. Let's be cruel. Come on, man.
Let's burn it down.
That's it.
That's
We're gonna
it.
end this one on
All right.
burning it down.
Burn it down, baby.
Love you, Sam.
Love you too, man.
Bread and Butter Collective's membership includes the following local businesses: 2% Jazz, Bunny's Kitchen, Buzz Coffee House, Eagle-Ite, Big Wheel Burger, Blue Mountain Solutions, Bodega Tapas Wine Bar, Eva Schnitzel House, Farmsgate Foods and Catering, Victoria Chocolate and Company, Drum Roaster Coffee, Habit Coffee, Foo Asian Street Food, the Culinary Arts Program at Camosun, Cafe Fantastico, Fall Epi, Harold Street Brewworks, Hey Happy, House of Botang, Nikkei Ramen Ya, Jenny Marie's Cracker Company, La Pasta, La Rue Patisserie, Mocha House, Part and Parcel, Poco a Pinto Bar, Pizzeria Prima Strada, Keating Pizza, Roast, Table 9 Consulting, Sherwood Cafe and Bar, Sweets by Selena, The Collective Wine Bar and Kitchen, The Drake, Tapa Bar, The Nimble Bar Company, Ruth and Dean, The Whole Beast, The Wienery, Spoon's Diner, Truffles Inspired Catering, and Zambries.
To hear more from the Bread and Butter Collective, go to checknews.ca/podcasts on Check Plus, or find us on your favorite podcasting platform.